There was a lot of mean speculations involving Letitia's name. As a director, how do you deal with that?
Along the way.
Oi. Oi is hello.
Oi é hello.
Oi.
And thank you.
Obrigado. Thank you. I'm like, hey, thank you.
I love the movie. It was so amazing.
Obrigado.
That's right. The action was incredible, and the way it deals with grief was so moving. So can we say doing a Black Panther movie without Chadwick Boseman was the biggest challenge of your entire career?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. He was the titular character, you know. That was the role he occupied for the film. So that was a big part of what made the first film work, and everything was built around that character in publishing, and definitely in our movie. His role for us in real life, nonfiction, was even grander than that, you know. And it bled over into our personal lives, you know. Yeah, it was incredibly challenging, you know. And Chadwick, by his very nature, made things easier, you know. He just did. Like so, he's not a person who you remove from the picture and things stay the same, you know. You know what I mean? That said, it was very motivating for us, you know. Our love for him and us wanting to do something that he would like, you know what I mean? That was our motivation for getting through some of the challenges that we have in this film.
There was a lot of mean speculations involving Letitia's name. As a director, how do you deal with that?
You know, we try to, like, as a family, try to block it out so that we can work. Like I said, we try to focus on the things we can control, you know, and a sad reality about life in this world is people talk. Bad news travels faster than good news sometimes. Made up things can travel faster than the truth sometimes, you know. And you know, oftentimes people want to take the lowest common denominator, you know what I mean? Maybe a mistake or something that was misinterpreted. They want to hold that up as if that's the most important thing about somebody, you know. It's frustrating for sure. But the truth is, I know Letitia, you know what I mean? Like, she's beautiful person, lovely to be around. It's tough when you see people saying, you know, mean things about somebody who you care about, but you also got to understand what you can control and what you can't, you know. And we were fortunate enough that we had work to do, you know what I mean? We had work to do together, and we could focus on that, you know, block that stuff out. And I'm confident that when people see what Letitia does in this movie, man, you know, it's you know, the world's gonna continue to open up for her.
She's amazing, the movie.
You know,
I loved her. And there was another script before Chadwick passed away. What was the story about?
But it was a character study, you know, not dissimilar to how this one, you know, is a character study on you know, Ramon and Shuri and Namor. It was a little more focused on him.
Do you plan to direct the next movie, or like to see a fresh take on the franchise?
Oh, wow. Man, that's a heavy question. I mean, I love these characters. I love this world. I would love to work with them again and continue to tell the story. That said, I don't know what's, like, all I can think of right now is this weekend and getting the movie out to the world, you know. And after we get there, I'll sit down and figure out what's next.
And the movie explored the consequences of war.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Without these conflicts we're having around the world, do you believe mankind will ever find peace?
Jesus. I don't feel like I'm equipped to answer that question, to be honest with you. Like, I've been spending like the last 4 years of my life just making a movie. Like, I've been barely watching the news, you know? Like, yeah, so I'm a pass on that question, man. Cause I don't want to say something. I don't want to say something off the top of my head.
No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry.
Namor can be considered the first original Marvel character.
Yeah.
And for you, how challenging was to adapt his story into the movies? And why do you consider him a great villain?
Yeah, I actually don't consider him a villain. I prefer the concept of an antagonist, just because I think that word just feels better to me. Sometimes like words give me feelings, you know what I mean? I don't have to do the definition so much. Yeah, but I think he's like a great antagonist for this film because he's a character who's wrestling with the same themes and thematic questions that Shuri is wrestling with. I think that he parallels her. They parallel each other quite well. A big thing we were looking at was this idea of wisdom versus intelligence. So for me, I think that antagonists, they have to line up with the protagonist, and oftentimes they kind of have to want the same thing, you know, but for different reasons, you know, and maybe they have different intentions with that thing that they're after, you know.
I love the conflict in the movie. And for you, what makes Wakanda Forever different than the other Marvel movies?
I don't really compare. I think all of the films are very different from each other. We try to compare some of the things we were inspired by, but a lot of 90s cinema, crazy enough, like films like Terminator 2, Aliens, Contact, The Abyss, you know, a lot of 90s Cameron in there for sure. Television-wise, it's a American television show called Fargo. Season 2.
I love
that season. Have you seen season 2? Yeah. So it was a lot of that in this, like this idea of these places that come in conflict with each other, and maybe want different things, you know. So that was something that I was watching, like while I was working on the screenplay. And
so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.